to the Athy Community Family Resource Centre. I'm here to show you how to cook some easy, cheap and delicious meals. My name is Mary Grufferty-Flood and this course is called Down to Earth Cooking with Me. Good morning. I'm here in the Athy FRC, Family Resource Centre, for people that may not know. This is a programme we're starting here for very, very easy, relaxed cooking, and what we're trying to endeavour to teach people how to feed themselves very well on small amounts of money. So we're featuring more Lidl and Aldi because of the good value that they have in their shops. So everything that's here is going to be bought in Lidl or Aldi, except maybe potatoes and herbs that I have at home. So I'm going to start today with a soup, okay? Each of the recipes I'm cooking are going to be for 4 people. So it can be 2 adults, 2 children, 4 adults. The recommended weight per person is a breast of chicken, which is 125 grams. So that's the recommended portion of meat to veg. So everything I cook will be for 4 people, all right? So now I'm going to start with what I call a white vegetable soup. And I have here celery, okay, leek, that was 56 cent or 59 cent, scallion, potato, cauliflower, parsnip and white onion, okay. I'm going to add a stock cube to that, and I'm going to add a few herbs. Now, I have been using these herbs, which you may not know even exist. They're called herbes du Provence. And about 20 years ago, French people came to Athy and they used to sell them in little sacks. And we've never ever gone back to using the mixed herbs. These are so much nicer. And they have borage and lovage and other stuff like that that is not in our normal mixed herbs. They're beautiful on a steak, lovely in a fish dish, lovely in chicken dish, and they're like 69 cent. I use garlic in everything. It's really good for you for your colds. Now, this is a bulb of garlic, okay? And this is purple garlic. You can get black garlic, elephant garlic, white garlic, but this is purple. So this is a clove. So one of them is a clove, but a bulb is a complete head of garlic, all right? That adds great flavour. I have herbs here as well. I have thyme, I have Italian thyme, I have a bay leaf, and these are out of my garden. I use these a lot. This is a flat leaf parsley and this is curly parsley. They're both same taste, only I find that when you're chopping this up it doesn't run away from the knife like the curly stuff does, so I prefer this. And I will not throw anything out. See that? This has all been washed. This I'm going to put into the soup. So it gives flavour. When you're starting off cooking, every ingredient has its own individual flavour and it gives flavour to food. So don't be tempted to throw out even the stalks. They are full of iron, vitamin C, very good for you, okay? And soup is a great way of filling you up and making you feel, you know, full on very little money, and it's so easy to digest. And if you have small children, it's really good baby food for them and easy to digest. And when you've made it, you know what's gone into it. Leek, onion, garlic are all cousins of each other. They're remember the onion family. This is a white onion. This is a brown onion. This is called a torpedo shallot. So that's a red, kind of a red, and it gets its name from the shape of it. It's very nice with steak. It's a sweet onion. And then red onion, and so there's a little medley of onions in a bag, and they were only like €1. but it gives you a choice. So you could use the red one in salads, and the garlic, there's white garlic. So there's the difference between them. There's purple garlic and white garlic. Now, before I touch anything, I'm going over here to the sink to wash my hands for at least 20 seconds, okay? Okay. Now, this is a white vegetable soup that I make all the time at home, right? So I have a bowl of water here, and this was a head of cauliflower I got in Aldi yesterday. I think it was like 59 cents. So you can use all of the stalk. It's as nutritious as the rest. And I have a nice bowl of clean water here. So I'm just going to keep that little bit for a little menu I'm doing later on, okay? I have 2 cloves of garlic, I have the onion, I have parsley and the stalks, okay? Now, I'm not going to put in all the parsley now because it'll lose its green colour. At the very end, when I'm blitzing it, I'll add a few leaves of parsley so that it'll have a little mottle of green through it, okay? Now, these are my 2 stalks of celery. I use celery in all soups, okay? And I'm just going to show you how to cut the celery. Don't cut the whole way through. See the threads? That'll stop the stringiness. So when you're cutting it, just cut right to the edge of it. And that's a really tender piece actually. So that's not as stringy as it does normally be. So that's that good. Even if you don't like celery, they're very good in soups. It gives a great flavour, all right? So there's all my veg, right? Now, this is a parsnip, white, so we're dealing with all white veg, okay? So this is out of my own garden, the parsnip. Okay, and then I'm going to do 2 scallions, okay, just top it there at the top, and right, now, this is the leek, okay, the leek is a very mild onion flavour, okay, and when you see the way it's white there, the farmer would have moulded the soil up to here, and that's how it's white. So this would be the tenderest part, down here at the bottom. And then this is up over the ground. Now, to wash a leek, you insert the knife upside down, above your hand. See that? And you draw the knife up like that. Now, in here will be the dirt, or the clay. Okay? So what you do is you take off the outer layer, just 2, and I'll wash that under the running tap, and it'll wash out all the grit or dirt. All right? Now that is the top part of the leek. So I'm just going to cut there like that. Okay? Just to make sure. So there you are. So now you could use this part here, you could put this in beside a steak when you're frying a steak, because it's a very tender piece, all right? Oh, lovely smell of onion off it, so mild, really lovely. We grow leeks very well in this country. So now about half the leek is fine. So now there's our medley of veg, and look at, I missed that shouldn't be in there. I'm going to just finally, potato and carrots are thickeners in soup, okay? So I'm going to peel these 2 potatoes. These are a variety called Navan, okay? I'm sure you're familiar with roosters. They're a red potato. So we grow an awful lot of potatoes around here. Harringtons grow very good quality. I know Brian man out at the road, he also grows great potatoes. And we are now going to be producing the potato that was grown here in the famine in the 1800s, called lumper. And it's a white potato, and it's full of little bumps and humps, but it's very nice to eat. I've tried it. So my favourite potato is a Golden Wonder. personally, they only come out in maybe into season in February. If you have a rooster, there'll be about 25 potatoes under a stalk of roosters. Under a stalk of golden wonders, they're called rich man's potatoes, there'll be about 5 potatoes. But the quality of them, I absolutely love them. So now, there is our pot for the soup. Now, I know other chefs heat the saucepan and put in butter and fry off. I'm inclined to just wash all the veg and put it on the pot. Okay? So now, there's our veg all washed up. Alright? So now I'm going to transfer it to a saucepan here. This is my pot. Okay? So, a potato, the onion, the cauliflower, the parsnip. Now, you're probably looking here of a cost of about €2 for this soup that I'm putting in this pot. Okay? And this freezes absolutely fantastic. So it does. So now, there's our pot of soup. Now to that I'm going to add these stock, this is stock pot, this is a chicken one. If you had vegetarians, you would need a vegetarian one, alright? Now these come in beef, chicken or vegetables, these pots, but they also come in cubes of a variety and they will help to flavour it. Now I have here, these are called peppercorns. There's black, white, red and green. The green you'd use for peppercorn sauce, the red you'd use for salmon and cheese, and the black and the white are used for all types of cooking. Now, this is the soup that you'll find when it's cooked, and to know whether it's cooked or not, just put a spoon or a knife through the veg and you'll know, look, it glides through it, okay? Now, these is the thyme, they're woody, so you don't want them in it. So remember, if you put in 2, take out 2, right? So I think I left another bay leaf in there. I thought I put in 2. See, can I find it now? Yes, there it is, right? So that's all the gudgeons, right? Now, do you remember I told you if we put the parsley in now, you will see it in through the soup. So I'm just going to get a little bit of fresh parsley. Okay? And I have some here. Now, this will keep its colour because I'm just going to blitz it, right? Now, there's very kind of little fluid on it. And I'm actually going to taste this now and see what it's like. Oh, it's delicious. Beautiful. Very happy with that. Now, this is my blender. And this is an 800 watt. This blends the vegetables to a very fine standard. Normally it's 300 or 400, but I find that that 800 one is brilliant. This is the one I use. Okay? They're very cheap. You get them for about 12, 13 euro. And again, they're very good in the cookery. A vital piece of equipment, in my opinion. Now I'm going to add a small drop of milk and maybe a drop of cream to finish it off. This is the noisy part. Now I need to add milk to it, which is here. Just to the mix, to the consistency that you would drink soup at. Now I can add another little drop of water and I'm going to add another little drop of cream. Just that much. This, and the cream is here. Now, and that's ready to be consumed. Now, there's your soup. That's about €2 worth. Very nutritious. Bon appetit. Now, the next thing I'm going to do for you is a recipe of brown bread. And I call this foolproof brown bread, because any person with absolutely no skills, never made bread before, can make this bread, guaranteed. Now, the first thing you do is put on your oven to 200. And breads, this type of bread will take about 45 minutes to an hour to cook, right? Now, for somebody starting off, I recommend you get a loaf tin. Because if you're only a first-time cook, or maybe starting out in life, you have a better result from a loaf tin for two reasons. You'll have, the heat will be the same mostly the whole way along, whereas if you circle around it, it can be doughy in the middle, all right? So you have a less density of area to cook through. Does that make sense to you? And you can slice it in slices, because we're going to put such lovely ingredients, I wouldn't even waste a crust of it. And I freeze it. I slice it up, and then you can, oh, you have to make Johnny's lunch in the morning, whip out 2 slices, even if they're frozen, butter them and put ham. It'll be thawed out by 11 o'clock when he's going to eat it. And you know exactly what's gone into it, right? Now, the secret of this is, you can put whatever you have in the press. Now, wheaten flour and plain flour. This is the wheaten flour, and that was got in Aldi yesterday. It was, I think, 60 or 70 cent, right? And that, look, that was on offer. We have plain flour and wheaten flour and buttermilk. Now, those 3 items, that's all you need to make bread, right? I have a few other things. I have porridge, okay, which is oat. I have wheat germ, and I have bran. All very good for the rear guard action, right? Which is what you need for your digestion. Now, I have a few pumpkin seeds, right? Now, I'm going to add a couple of things to this. If you wanted to make bread and you had no buttermilk, oh God, I have to go down to town now to get buttermilk. Put a half a teaspoon of lemon juice into the milk, and that'll make it sour. Or a teaspoon of vinegar. That will also make it sour, and that will work, okay? So we have our ingredients here. Now, I will be measuring nothing, but we're going to use these 2 loaf tins here. So these are a pound loaf tins, okay? And I'm going to put a handful of bran. I want to put a little bit of sugar and about half teaspoon of salt. So with the bread, you're going to put all your dried ingredients first into a bowl. Now, there's wheat germ. You know, the bread has a kind of a greeny colour. That's what gives you that. Now, this is expensive. That's just inside the kernel of the wheat, and it's really good for your digestion, wheat germ. Really, really good for you, okay? A good handful of porridge, right? Here we go with 1.5. Now, and we'll go with the wheaten flour, right? And I'm going to give a little bit of white flour, just to lighten it a bit, right? Now, there's all our dried ingredients, see that? Now, I have a few pumpkin seeds. You could use sesame seeds, you could use, oh God, I can't think of them, it's linseeds. You can use any seeds like that, almonds, walnuts. Now, traditionally we wouldn't put that into the brown bread, but they're perfectly fine to put into if you want to, okay? So I'm going to add some oilseed rape, which is made here in Ireland, and I'm going to add an egg. Now, this is just more nutritional value, all right? So I'm going to put the fluids in here in a mug. About 2 tablespoons of oil. It can be olive oil either, okay? That's cold pressed. Now, this says rapeseed oil, and it says cold pressed, and it says virgin, Now that has nothing to do with anything only. It means that the rapeseed was cold when it was pressed, so you're getting the best quality that could be got. And olive oil will have the same. It'll say extra virgin or cold pressed. That means the seeds or olives were not heated to get the oil out of them. So you're guaranteed, that's your guaranteed quality by the government of Ireland, that this is, and here I see written on it, triple filtered. So this has been 3 times filtered. So that's really good quality, all right? So now, you'll probably say, oh well, I don't know how will I make it rise? There's 2 raising agents we use in baking. This is baking powder, all right? Baking powder is not strong enough to rise brown bread, okay? So the mixture you have in this bowl is going to be heavy, so you need a heavier raising agent. So we used to call it bread soda. Now it's called bicarbonate of soda. So that's bread soda, this is baking powder. See the difference? So this will be used for scones, for buns, for Swiss rolls, for Victoria sandwiches, that type. This would be too strong to rise them. So for this amount of dried ingredients, I'm going to use a full heaped teaspoon. Here it is here, right? So I'm going to show you that much, all right, a heaped teaspoon. Now that's our raising agent. Now if I added that to the egg and the oil mixture, it's a start to, you know, like the head of a bottle of Guinness, kind of make a foam, because the rising agent activates when you add the fluid, all right? So there we are. Now this is our fluid, which is the buttermilk, okay? I have a wooden spoon here we are. Right, so now you just make a well in the center, and you're going to put enough fluid in this to make it, when you draw the spoon through it like that, it closes in behind you. So you want a sloppy mixture. So there's no kneading, no nothing, right? So I'm going to put in that much first, and then I'm going to put in the egg and the oil mixture, right? And then I'm going to stir, right? Now, that's not wet enough, right? So it can be fresh milk that you've put the lemon juice into. And you could have, do you know what else you could use? If you had a carton of cream that was just gone sour or gone out of date, maybe a day or 2, that'll work fine. Put a drop of water in it. Sorry for being so messy, right? Now, that's still not sloppy enough, right? Because when I draw the spoon through it, right, so I'll show you what I mean. Now, I'm nearly out, so I'm going to give it a rinse. Put a tiny drop in it, rinse out all your cartons, don't waste any of that. Right? Now, so everything is in this, salt, sugar, your wheat germ, all really full of goodness. Now do you see what I mean by, see the way it's closing in behind you? Okay, so I'm going to just rinse out the last of that, and there's a little bit of oilseed rape left in there. And remember, you've added the egg. Now, here's my 2 tins. Now normally I use the wrapping paper off the butter, but I made so much bread I haven't enough paper, so I take that paper off, cut in the middle and put it in here. Now a little tip when you're doing this, to help stopping it sticking in your paper, dust it. You could dust it with flour or wheat meal, any mixture to stop it sticking. Now this is good silicone paper here, and I'm going to divide the mixture in 2. Didn't want it to get out there on me. Right? Now, this will take, as I say, 200 for about 45 minutes. Now you could make this when the kids are going to school, and you know, it's really good for your lunch boxes for them. Very nutritious, and it's really very, very, very easy to make. Okay? Now there's one really important thing, one more thing to do with this, and I'm going to show you right now when I just scrape out this mixture. Clean my spoon off. I make this bread maybe once or twice a week. Still, I've been making this for a long time, and you know, it's very, very, very nice. I think it's the business. Okay, so flatten that down like that. See that? Now, there's one really important thing you need to do here now, and don't forget it. Put the spatula or a knife right down to the base of it. Now, there's a reason why I'm doing that. So you're making a crack in the middle. So when it starts to cook, it'll come up like that in a pyramid, and you'll have a line down the middle. Now, if you don't do that, what will happen is it'll crack here, along here, and that's what you don't want. So there, I'm going to put bran on one, and I'm going to put porridge on the other, and pop them in the oven for about 45 minutes. Okay? Now I have the oven preheated. Make sure to turn it on before, so the bread looks to me to be cooked. Okay? So I'm going to take out the 2 loaves. There's 1, and there's 2. Now, there's a couple of ways to decide whether it's cooked or not. Visually, it looks good. I will take it out of the tin, just both ends is all I have to cut. That might be a bit stuck here. Just making a big job of it. Now, there it is out. Now, there's a hollow sound. To me, that's cooked. Other than that, you could insert your knife here like that, and it's clean. That's another indicator that's cooked. Okay? So you can just put it standing up like that, so that air is getting at it to let it cool down. Okay? So that's one, and this one came out a lot easier. And again, to me that's cooked. And I'll just check here again. Yes, very happy with that. Okay? So there's your 2 loaves. And now, this is the end of this session. Down to earth cooking with me. I hope that you have got some tips and that you will make good use of them. And I have really enjoyed myself. And if you send in a good response, they might bring me back for another one. Thank you. Bye bye.